This is probably going to be a multi-part video. We are going to mix a song from a band called Lip. They are a three-piece band here in Chicago. I recorded their entire album, 12 to 14 songs, live right here in my control room. So I recorded drums, bass, and guitar all at once, and then we overdubbed the vocals and one guitar track. The style of music, I would say, is like a mix between Nirvana's Bleach and Fugazi. It's like a mixture of that style of music. Very cool. We're going to go for a unique sounding mix, like a lo-fi, grungy, heavy mix. And I am going to mix it on my console with outboard gear and using the benefits of plugins and editing in the box. And I'm going to show you how I do that right now. Let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is treat the drums. So far I have them recorded in a Pro Tools. I set the levels and spread them out across my console. So there are 11 drum mics on this kit. There is no processing on them, just level set and panning. Let's hear them in the room. Okay, so it sounds like very dry drums recorded into a small room. We're going to add some size of the room by adding compression, EQ, and reverb. Reverb is what's going to give us that space, all right? So we're going to do that first just for some air candy. So if you look here, I'm going to pull up on an auxiliary track my little plate reverb. And I have a preset ready to go, great plate. And that's going to be too much. Let me just make an adjustment here. And let's give it a listen. Too much verb. Let me lower that down. I want it to be realistic. I'm going to back off the wet dry here. This low cut is for it not to affect anything below a certain frequency range. And I'm going to put that right about here. I don't want the low end muddied up by the reverb. And then my wet dry, I'm going to put at about 75%. I'll go right about 1.4 seconds. Let's hear that of decay time. Nice. It added size, but it's not too unbelievable. Let me show you what's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. All right, so let me lower that back down to just over 1 second, about 1.4. Let's listen to that again. I have the 11 drum tracks bussed to an auxiliary stereo track that has that reverb plug-in on it. That auxiliary stereo reverb track is coming to channel 27 and 28 right here on my faders. And I have them about 3/4 of the way up. So I could adjust the amount of reverb right here that I want to dial into this kit. I could also do that during the mix down. If I want the drums wetter during a certain part of the song, I could boost up these two faders. All right, so let me show you an example of that. Beautiful. So now we have a bit of verb on there that's adding space. And it's very important to me because I recorded these drums in a small room. And I don't want them to sound small. I want them to sound big. If you hear that phasiness in the drums, I recorded a crotch mic, which is basically right over the kick drum between the drummer's legs. And I have a Distressor really smashing it. Let me solo that so you can hear it. Here it is here. Turn up the track. It's on channel 11. Now that really adds some chaoticness under the drums that I like. And that was recorded through a Distressor. So that compression is baked into the track, all right? And I just tuck that into the mix for flavor. Now what I'm going to do is show you what I did to the stereo overheads. Here they are soloed out. These are my AKG 451Es. Let's give them a listen. So what I have here is the Pro Q3 on there. So let's hear what happens when I mute this Pro Q3 on the overheads. Here's the overhead soloed. So as soon as I mute that plugin, you could hear how it gets harsh and it gets boxy sounding. That Pro Q3 made the drums sound softer, rounder, and more musical just by manipulating the EQ. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to add drum bus compression and EQ to the overall drum tracks, and then I'm going to see if the individual tracks need compression and EQ. I am going to come out of the drum bus, which is 25 and 26, into my API 2500. I'll come out of the 2500 into a pair of 550A EQs, out of the API EQs, back into 25 and 26. All right, so right now I have the API 2500 and the API 550As on the drum bus track, all right? And those are returning to channels 25 and 26. So when I dial in this compressor and these EQs, I could dial in how much I want to return in parallel to the overall drum mix. This is the room that this entire album was recorded in. The drums were sitting right here. We had headphones on and we jammed one song after the other until they recorded the full album. I am going to play this drum track and I'm going to actually create a loop. So I could dial in this gear while I'm holding this camera so you guys can see it. Okay, I also patched in the distressors on kick and snare, but those are bypassed right now. We're going to dial those in after we dial in the API 2500 and the 550As. So let's bypass these. And then I'm going to play it, and then I'm going to engage them to see what we did. And keep in mind, how much we hear of that is how much I dial in parallel, which I don't want it too boombastic, so I'm going to keep it down. Okay, so that got them to puff up just enough. It sounds like a drum bus treatment to me. So first we're going to start with the kick itself. And I have an inside kick mic and an outside kick mic, and I'm only listening to the inside kick mic right now. Here we go. I don't want a heavy tack and release. And when I hit bypass, I want it to sort of be the same level. I'm not trying to raise the level. I'm trying to add compression to make it punt. And there it is. Slow attack, fast release, input doing about 5 to 7 dB of gain reduction, and matching the output with the level when it's bypassed. Let me tell you a quick little trick with the distressors. If you do not have them linked in the back with the link cable, and you engage the link here, it intensifies the distortion modes. All right? So if I had the link cable in back, which I have it, I don't have it connected, but say I want it, I don't like to link my distressors, but say I did. And I hit the link mode and it'd be normal distortion modes. But since I don't have the link cable in the back and I do engage the link, it intensifies the distortion modes, just so you know. That's a little trick with distressors. Here's the snare top. All right, that snare is a crackin'. He is a consistent hitter. So I'm going to play it and then bypass it. I don't think I need any high pass filters or distortion on that. I think the snare sounds amazing. Here we go. That works for me. Let's hear it with the bottom snare mic. Alrighty, let's hear the drums all together and see where we're at. Okay, I think that outside kick mic is just way too much. Let's listen to just the outside kick. Yeah, I'm gonna have to EQ that a lot. All right, or maybe just take it out of the mix altogether because I don't like what it's doing to the drums. Let's hear all the drums together and let me take it out. That is the culprit. That is what's adding that underlying loomph that I don't like in there. But I don't want it completely gone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull a plugin up here, and I'm going to do two things. I'm going to go to my Renaissance 2-band EQ, and I am going to high pass everything below, let's just say 40 hertz, all right? And then I am going to also come over here to the auxiliary. I'm going to bring that down. So I'm going to take it out of the drum bus mix. I'm going to put that at 7.5 and then negative 7.5. Then I'm going to come to the main fader right here, which you can hardly see, but I'll put you up there. And I'm going to bring that down to 8.6. All right. Now let's hear the drum mix. It's better, but I'm gonna actually go to 55 hertz. Let's hear that. Much, much better. You hear how the low end is more defined now. It's not getting all muddied out and loofed up by that low end mud. All right, we added some mix bus compression, a little bit of mix bus EQ, and this EQ is not being surgical. I'm just using it as a sweetener. I am actually doing some reduction EQ on 400, and then I am boosting 100 hertz and 10,000 kilohertz. All right. Now, I do want to mention, and if you watch my other videos, you should already know that since the very beginning, before I even started mixing, I do have my Allen Smart and my Elisa X filter on the mix bus of my console. All right. So I am mixing into this. I don't want to do a full mix and then add this to it and change it. I want to hear this throughout the entirety of my mixing session. And someone just asked me, do you always have the side chain engaged? I just got this question asked the other day. I forget the name of the person that asked it on YouTube, but yes, I do. And let me tell you why. I have cables on the back that I purchased with this. I bought this brand new from Sunset Sound Studio. They are a dealer and a distributor for Allen Smart compressors. And they offer an option that you could get cables made for the back of this that side chain and high pass certain frequencies. So I am side chaining 150 hertz. So this compressor is not affecting anything below 150 hertz. And that is to help not muddy up the sound. Let's hear what happens when we add the crush feature to the drums, okay? So let's do that. I'm going to press play. And that right there would be worth using this as a drum compressor alone. That sounds awesome, but I'm not going to want that on the whole mix, so I'm going to take that off. Have no fear. This console with a badass EQ is here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to solo out the kick and snare, and I'm going to adjust the EQ here on the board. So I am boosting 4 dB of 60 hertz, and I am just boosting 2 dB of 7.5K on the kick drum. Let's move over to the snare. Here we go. So for the snare top, I have 2 dB of 100 hertz, and I am boosting 2 dB of 3.5, 2 dB of 10,000 kilohertz. So I will play the kick and snare with the EQ, and then I will bypass it. Here we go. So basically that is a bold sounding EQ and very, very useful, and it sounds absolutely amazing on kick, snare, guitars. I don't use it so much on vocals, but kick, snare, guitars, bass, it is amazing. So far we have some plugins we used in the box, got levels in the box to make sure we're not peaking and we're in a good spot. Spread across the board, 11 drum tracks, bust them over to the API 2500, put a pair of 550 AEQs on it, got a Distressor on kick and snare. As the mix go on and we start adding the other tracks, we'll do some cool stuff with the drums to make sure they're popping through and sounding good and where they should be. All right, so this is going to be a multi-part series, and this first part is the drums. So I'm going to play the drums where they're at, and then I'll add the rest of the tracks that are not mixed just so you can sort of hear them with the music. So this is where the drums are at, and please Like and subscribe. Hit the bell if you want to see the rest of these videos. It keeps me motivated and excited about making these videos for you. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll leave you with this. Here's the drums, what we just did to them, then I'll add the music.